I'm Mary Marinville, and I'm with my Ventura County March Grower of the Month, Will Terry from Terry Farms. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's such a beautiful day
It
in
is.
Oxnard, and tell us about where we're standing. Tell us about this ranch.
Well, this is my first year actually growing on this ranch, growing strawberries here. But the company I'm growing it for, Well Picked, as Terry Farms, we sell to them and then they market and distribute it. They've been growing in this particular ranch for about 25, 30 years is my understanding.
25, 30 years. But you are Edgar Terry's son, and you're a multi-generational farming family.
Yeah, I'm a fifth generation farmer.
And tell me how that feels. Are you proud to be a farmer as your ancestors were?
No, absolutely. I think it's, very unique to be able to say that I'm doing the same thing that my great-great-grandfather was doing. Obviously a little bit different now, quite a bit different, but still in agriculture, and for me that's something I'm very proud of.
Okay, so you said that there's 70 acres here, and you were explaining to me, tell me about the yield that you get off this property.
Well, tomorrow we're going to be harvesting right where we're standing. We're going to harvest about 20 acres tomorrow, and we'll probably pull off around 5,000 flats per acre. A flat is a minimum of 8 pounds. That's the flat equivalent. So per year, basically we start picking this around Christmas, and we'll be picking all the way up through July. We'll typically get a little bit over 5,000 flats per acre of fresh product.
Wow.
And then we'll get about 2,000 to 3,000 more in processor and in juices.
Okay, that's a lot of strawberries.
Yes.
So now, is that was this a good winter for you with weather and the lack of water?
No, absolutely not optimal in terms of weather. It hasn't been for the last few years. We did just get a big rainstorm a week ago, and that was definitely a welcome development. A little bit late for when we'd normally like it, but when you're in the middle of a drought, you take it when you can.
Right, of course. So the lack of water, so you're having to use your own water. Where is your water source? Where do you get your water from?
Well, our water source is from underground aquifers right below our feet. Actually, we have a water well on this ranch, and there is a lot of water there, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't come without complications. A lot of the cities get their water from underground aquifers as well, certainly surface water and diversions and dams, but also underground aquifers. And us being this close to the coast, if we overdraft that aquifer, it allows for saltwater intrusion. All that water sitting out there in the ocean will push its way right under us and can perch the water down below. So it's something that's very regulated, and something that us as farmers are very insistent that we do the right thing and make sure that it doesn't get overdrafted.
So that affects the salinity of the soil, correct?
Absolutely.
And the water. And how does that affect your berries?
Well, they're not very salt tolerant, so you will absolutely kill your strawberries if the water that you're pulling from down below in the aquifers and putting onto the plants is too high in salts and total dissolved solids and other minerals.
Right. Well, these plants look like they are very, very healthy. So tell me about the variety that we're standing in the middle of. They look beautiful. They're large, and they just look so healthy.
No, they look great right now, especially after the last rain, but I'm very happy with them. But this is what's called the 1975 variety. There is an actual name, but I just call it by its number. I don't remember the name. We grow a lot of different varieties. There are hundreds of strawberry varieties, interestingly enough, and this particular one fits the soil, fits the climate, and fits the market window we're trying to hit just right. And so this is a proprietary variety from a company called BGI.
These particular strawberries look very large. Now, if you were to look at a strawberry chart, because I've seen the small little strawberries, and where do these fit in the spectrum?
Right now, these are on the larger side for certain. A 1 pound clamshell, which is 1/8 of a flat, is only going to fit about 12 of these right now. So they are quite big, especially if you grab one that's a little more ripe, even bigger than that.
Yeah,
so these are very big. Now, once all this green fruit that you see here, once all this green fruit starts to ripen, the size will go down a little bit because it's more of a heavy load on that strawberry plant.
Okay, so you said you're going to pick about 5,000 flats tomorrow. Now, what is your season? What's your growing season?
Well, on this particular variety, it's our main cycle. We call it a winter cycle, but you plant in October, and you'll start harvesting right around Christmas time. And your production will be climbing up until April when you hit your peak. And then from April, we'll start to dip down a little bit, and we'll finish up in July.
And then what happens? When did these get planted? How long is the cycle for?
We planted this, I think, the 10th through the 18th is what it was on this ranch.
Okay, the 10th through the 18th.
That's correct.
And how long, okay, so, and the maturation rate of the strawberry takes about 150 to, that's how many months?
Well, you know what? It only takes about 4 months about 120 days or so to start getting the strawberries here. But if you look at just the flowers, this flower will be a ripe strawberry in about 3 weeks right now, because the days are starting to get longer, about 3.5 to 4 weeks. The days
Okay.
are getting longer, we're getting towards spring, so they're gonna ripen a lot more quickly. Now, during the winter, that flower will take about 6 weeks before it's a red strawberry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just really trying to understand the cycle of this particular harvest. And as many of the people watching and reading the newsletter, they know that strawberries is the #1 crop in the county.
Yeah.
And you and Terry Farms are a big contributor to that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Ryder Affiliates, are they and Driscoll's, do you all work together in some capacity, or are you competitors, or?
Well, we're certainly competitors, but we also do work together as an industry as a whole, as part of the California Strawberry Commission. Every single strawberry grower in the county, really in the state, is a part of the California Strawberry Commission. So they have joint efforts for outreach, joint efforts for development, for political things, research. So we all are a team, but we're still competitors.
So there is power in numbers when you all work together to try to accomplish something.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, good to know that. So you were talking about the harvesting in 5,000 flats, and I know that labor is a very big issue in the county, especially
Absolutely.
when it comes to harvesting strawberries. Now, what are you experiencing right now with labor for your farm?
Right now I'm actually doing okay. If you were to ask me this last year, I'd be in a little bit worse of a spot. Last year was a very, very bad year for strawberry production, probably one of the worst in history, if not the worst in the state of California.
Really?
And as a result, there are quite a few acres less of strawberries this year, whether that be because people went out of business or have made some choices to go into other crops on their land. And so because of that, it's such a labor-intensive crop. That's about 1.25 to 1.5 people less per acre. Now, if there's 2,000 acres less of strawberries, that's a lot of available people on the market. So right now I'm doing okay. But if you ask me that in a month when we're hitting our peak, it might be a little different.
Well, good luck. I hope that the season, when it comes to labor, works out for you. And it was so interesting. Yesterday, I went to an ag conference, and one of the big issues, of course, water regulation and labor. And we were just talking. I was talking to a few people, and one of the big questions that got asked is why is there such a labor shortage? And one of the gentlemen was saying, why don't other people want to pick? Because the money, they get paid good money. Why don't other people want to pick? And what they don't realize is that strawberries is such a skilled work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I interviewed your father, he explained to me that he had some college students come out to the property, and they picked 1 flat in an hour. And what do your workers normally pick in an hour?
Well, during our peak here in about a month, they're going to be averaging around 18 flats an hour, and they'll be making well over $25 an hour. Some people into the 30s. And so the money is good, but yes, you do have to know what you're doing. And certainly we'll aid anyone who's interested in coming out to pick and teaching them what to do, because it is a labor shortage. And the stigma against it, I think, is people just aren't willing to work that hard for their dollar. And there's also just a lot of people are unaware what exactly goes into farm labor, what goes into farm work. And I think if more people really knew, which maybe hopefully they will from this interview and other things like this, then maybe they'd be more interested in it.
Right. Yes, because they don't realize how much our agricultural workforce works to put food on our table every single day.
Absolutely.
From your level
Absolutely.
to our harvesters, and we really need to appreciate our agricultural workforce. And
Well, thank you. I tend to agree with that. I mean, most people don't think about it, but you eat food every day. If you're eating a perishable product, it's probably because it was harvested not too long from when you ate it. So are you eating on the weekend? Are you eating early in the week? Well, then someone was working on the weekend to put that food on your table. So it's not, this isn't, like growing almonds or something that's non-perishable like that. This particular crop is very perishable. If I don't get this to the grocery store within 5 to 6 days, it's not going to make it to someone's home, and they're not going to be able to enjoy it.
so logistically, there are 1,000 little details that you do every single day to make sure that that product gets to the grocery store on time.
Absolutely. The logistics really are interesting. Right now, especially with this, quote unquote polar vortex that's going on over most of the country, we're having a real hard time shipping to the East Coast. If you're spending big money to ship a truck all the way out, say for instance in New York, and it's 2 days late and all that fruit spoils, well, you've already paid to grow it, you've paid to harvest it, you've paid to ship it, you've paid to market it, and now you're not getting anything in return. So certainly it is a bit of a conundrum. And unfortunately, people say, well, okay, why don't you just wait a few days to harvest your strawberries? Why can't you wait a few weeks till the weather passes? Well, I have about a 2-day window to 3-day window to pick these strawberries when they're ripe. If I don't, they'll rot right there on the vine. So I have to continually be picking. And in this instance, we're marketing just to areas in the western United States.
See, I never thought of that because the East Coast keeps getting inundated with snow and bad weather, and the large tractor trailer trucks can't make the deliveries.
No, and even if you were to put this on an airplane, say we went down to LAX, we were shipping out with an airplane, because we do some of that we ship out to Asia. But if we were to do that, still, it has to get on a truck wherever its destination is on the East Coast and still make it to the marketplace in time. And that really is a tall order at this point. So we're looking forward to some more normal weather, whatever that means.
Well, right now I think it's about 15 degrees back there, so I don't know if that's normal or not. So I am very interested to ask you about young farmers and ranchers. You always hear about the average age of farmers these days in the 21st century being in the late 50s, early 60s, but there's a new generation of farmers that are taking over. So tell me, you're a member of Farmers and Ranchers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a committee of the Farm Bureau. And for those who don't know, the Farm Bureau is the largest grassroots organization in the country, I believe. I heard that one, so hopefully that's correct.
That's interesting.
And so we're specific to Ventura County. We're a committee of the Ventura County Farm Bureau. And so it's for people 18 to 35. It's like a young professionals network, and really what it's meant to do is bolster our network of other people involved in agriculture. It is very diverse. Growing an avocado is nothing like growing a strawberry, which is nothing like growing lettuce or romaine or whatever it might be. And so to be able to come together though and realize we have similar issues, that's really important for us to be able to network in that way.
So does the young farmers and ranchers, do they have a mission statement that you could
Not one that I could rattle off on the top of my head without butchering it, but it's basically to promote agriculture, whatever that may be.
Well, that's what I do. So
we're on the same page.
We're partners, we're collaborators.
Absolutely.
And I'm very happy to say that young farmers and ranchers are going to be partnering with SeeAg this year on Farm Day, which is a county-wide event where farms have open houses and they give tours of their farms. And this year we're hoping for about 20 farms, so maybe Terry Farms or Terry's Berries can
Absolutely, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Happy to give some support.
Great. They've been so supportive, and they told me we're 100% on board, Mary, and we will move mountains for you. So I'm so grateful for that. And you just went to a conference with young farmers and ranchers up in Visalia.
Yeah, it was our annual leadership conference. This year was held in Visalia. Each year they have it in a different part of the state, an ag area of the state, and you learn about agriculture in that area, you make connections. It really is a great event. It was a 3-day event, so you have some workshops, obviously networking opportunities, tours. So it really is a great thing.
Great. And what did you learn? What did you learn while you were up there?
Well, I'm so used to being in an area where, ag and urban are really butting heads, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes
very much so. Yeah. On this piece of property.
Yeah, we have an airport right there, a hospital down the street, a school down the street, so it's a much different thing when you're in the Central Valley and that's not the case. So really learning what their issues are outside of the ag-urban thing, I think was interesting.
Mm-hmm. The human encroachment. And you also visited a dam, I believe?
Yeah, we did. We visited a dam that was mostly empty, which is typical of most dams in the state right now. And certainly, water was a huge part of our tours, a huge part of our weekend there, especially for the Central Valley. We rely so much on snowpack, snow melt, water collection facilities that then can make distributions. And with the lack of water, that's not a reality for them right now. So it really is a pretty dire situation. And trying to find ways to make sure that we can promote infrastructure updates, that's something that we're all very committed to.
One of the other things that I learned yesterday with the rainfall that just happened, 80% of the rain was not captured. And so that's one of the things that the ag and municipal have to work together on. They have to have a consensus on how to change that, because we really need to start capturing our rainwater.
Oh, absolutely. We can't have fresh water not going to good use. And, everyone has a different opinion on what a good use is. Some of the environmental issues make it difficult for us, but agriculture is an environmental issue as well. And so if you don't have water for agriculture, certainly that's a big issue, just as much as it might be for the steelhead to have enough water to be able to swim upstream, to spawn. So it's just one of those things where nothing's that simple, nothing's that easy, and we're all working to common solutions on it.
Well, that's good, and that's what's needed. That all has to be a balance, and we have to work together for the common solutions. So I just wanted to ask you a few more questions. Do you know how many seeds are on an average strawberry on the outside of it?
You know what? I'm sure that's one of the statistics I should know, but I don't.
I know. Haha.
Tell me.
It's 200.
200.
Average has 200 strawberries.
Wow.
I read that somewhere. Now you can
I'm
tell.
sure it varies by variety, but I'm, around the 200 range. That sounds about right.
Okay, I think there's 220 on this one because it's so big.
Perfect.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about your farm or about agriculture?
Well, I certainly think there's a lot of opportunity there in the future, and it is something that a lot of people don't know a lot about because we are such a small percentage of the population, especially in Southern California. I was probably the only person or one of two people in my high school who were in a farming family. I went to a college in LA. I went to Loyola Marymount, where I was a business major.
I went to Marymount.
Did you really?
Yeah, high five.
Oh, yeah, all right, go Lions. And certainly I was one of just a few people who were part of farming families, the only one I know who went back to the farm. And I think that's a shame because I really do think there's a great opportunity there, and that it is something that people can get a lot of enjoyment out of. Certainly hard work, but a lot of enjoyment out of knowing that what I'm doing right here is going to be giving someone the nutrition they need back home.
Yeah, you're creating subsistence for people. Without agriculture, we depend on it for our survival. And I think so many people forget that. We put food on our mouths every day. We don't know where it's grown.
No.
We don't know how it's grown. We don't know who's growing it. And people really need to pay more attention to that. And again, how much hard work you're doing. And so we really thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention, you just brought this up, is I think the next generation, even younger than you, they don't know all the opportunities that are available to them in farming. I was just listening to Casey Howling, and he said he has high-paying managerial jobs that are going unfilled at the moment because the younger generation, they're not applying for them and they're not getting the degrees that are needed. So you went to Loyola Marymount. I went to Marymount in Tarrytown actually, which is an all-girls school. So I know you didn't.
I didn't go to the all-girls school. No.
No, you didn't go there. So if you were a high school student and you were interested in agriculture, what major would you take?
Well, it depends on what your aspirations are. I think ultimately, if you want to be in business for yourself, and if that's running a farm, it is a very complex business operation. And so I think that being a business major or something in that realm is definitely important. And then if you want to be someone like a plant pathologist, you want to be a biologist, you want to be an entomologist, any of those types of things, obviously you need an advanced degree in that specific area. So there's a lot of opportunity for those people, for researchers. There's also opportunity for people who want to be, like me and hope to take over a farm and be part of the whole operation. The food system here in the United States is the safest in the world, certainly in California. People get more bang for their buck, less of their disposable income is spent on food because people do concentrate on doing the best job possible. And so, buy Californian, right?
And by Ventura County,
Absolutely.
even better. So
even better.
I'm going to try one of your strawberries because I know it's safe, correct?
Oh, please do.
Oh my, really good.
Well, glad you like it.
It's really delicious. So thank you. And thank you, Will.
Absolutely.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
We
And-
appreciate the interest.
Yeah, and if people want to learn more about your farm, do you have a website?
We do have a website. It doesn't have a whole lot of detailed information, but we do tours and things for interested parties. So
Great.
maybe we can give you an email address or something to put up on your website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.